All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving headfirst into a pretty big puzzle in modern philosophy. We're going to do it by looking at two of its most, let's say, energetic thinkers, Slavoj Žižek and Gilles Deleuze. Now, if you've ever tried to read these guys, you know they seem like they're from totally different worlds. But what if I told you they're actually orbiting the very same kind of weird star? That's what we're here to figure out.
So let's meet our two main characters. I'm calling them the caffeinated thinkers because, well, anyone who's tried to read them knows exactly what I mean. Their writing just crackles with this frantic energy. It practically jumps off the page. But here's the thing. Underneath all that shared energy, their big ideas seem to be going in completely opposite directions.
Okay, so on one side, you've got Slavoj Žižek. He's this brilliant psychoanalyst who can take a Hitchcock movie or even a dirty joke and pull out some deep philosophical truth. His whole thing revolves around what he calls the obscure object of desire. Then on the other side, you've got Gilles Deleuze. He's all about systems, big picture stuff. He wants to totally blow up how we think using this idea of the rhizome. So yeah, one guy is digging into stories that already exist, and the other is trying to build brand new ways of thinking from the ground up.
And that right there is our big mystery for today. What on earth connects these two? I mean, really, why do people always talk about them together when they seem so different? Is there some hidden thread that ties Zizek's obsession with desire to Deleuze's massive, sprawling systems? Well, it's time to play detective and follow the clues.
All right, our first clue comes from Gilles Deleuze, and he kicks things off with a pretty cool thought experiment. He basically wants us to completely rethink the shape of our thinking. He says, look, we're all stuck in this one way of organizing ideas, and he's got a pretty wild alternative for us. So Deleuze says that most of the time, we're doing what he calls tree thinking. It's got a main trunk, a central root, a clear top-down structure. Think of a family tree or a book with one main plot. Everything connects back to that central point. But he says, what if we tried rhizome thinking instead? A rhizome, well, it doesn't have a center at all. It just spreads out everywhere, making all these crazy, unpredictable connections. Yeah, to really get this, just picture a crabgrass in a lawn. There's no boss crabgrass telling the others where to go, right? It just spreads. Or how about the flu? It's just this decentralized network that moves from person to person. It's the same idea with rots and their burrows, or even something as specific as the relationship between a wasp and an orchid. All of these are systems that organize themselves without any central command. That, my friends, is a rhizome. Okay, so keep that idea of a system with no center in your head. Now, let's grab our second clue, this time from Slavoj Žižek. We're going to pivot here, from these big abstract systems to something way more personal. The world of stories, movies, and what it is we really truly want. So Žižek, who's building on the ideas of the famous psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan, has this kind of mind-bending argument. He says that what really gets us going, what drives us, isn't the thing we can actually have. Nope, it's the exact opposite. The real engine of our desire is that thing that's always just beyond our grasp, the thing we can never fully understand or own. And he has the perfect example for this, Hitchcock's classic film, Vertigo. You've got the main character, right, Jimmy Stewart, and there's this perfectly wonderful woman who's in love with him, totally available. Does he care? Not really. Instead, he gets completely obsessed with this other woman who's a total mystery. He can't figure her out, he can't pin her down. She's not just far away, she's obscure. And that chase, that obsession with this mysterious thing, is what powers the entire movie.
Žižek has a great name for this thing. He calls it the blot. And his go-to example is this incredible painting by Hans Holbein, The Ambassadors. If you've seen it, you know there's this weird stretched-out shape at the bottom. It looks like a smudge. You can't make sense of it. But that one detail, the thing that doesn't fit, is what makes you stare at the painting. It's a hole in the picture's meaning that, weirdly enough, becomes the very thing that gives it meaning. It's a paradox, and it's brilliant. Okay, let's recap. We have our two big clues. Clue number 1 from Deleuze, the rhizome. It's a way to think about systems that have no center. Clue number 2 from Žižek, the blot. It's the idea that what drives our stories and our desires isn't a clear target, but this weird, fascinating blank spot. So what's the connection here? How do these two ideas talk to each other? Well, the key that unlocks this whole puzzle, the thing that connects these two totally different sounding ideas, is the one philosophical movement they both belong to. And that is postmodernism. Yep. Deleuze and Žižek are basically two of the rock stars of this school of thought. A school that's often misunderstood, but believe me, it has shaped so much of how we think today. So, what the heck is postmodernism anyway? Well, strip it all down, and at its heart, it's about being really, really suspicious of stable, neat, and tidy structures. It's about looking at the world and saying, hey, maybe there isn't one single center or one single origin story or one big truth that explains everything. It questions all of that. Okay, let's put it all together. Once you put on these postmodern glasses, suddenly their shared mission just clicks into place. It becomes crystal clear. Both of them, in their own very different ways, are trying to get us to do one thing: think without a center. Think about it. Deleuze's rhizome is a full-on attack on the very idea of a stable system with a center. He wants us to see the world as this massive, interconnected web that has no single master plan. And Zizek? He's doing the exact same thing, but he's coming at it from the inside. He's showing us that our own minds, our own stories, aren't built around some clear goal. Nope. They're organized around a blot, a big empty space, a mystery, right at the center of who we are. So here's the absolute bottom line. One of them attacks the idea of a center from the outside by looking at systems, and the other attacks it from the inside by looking at our own desires. It's like this. Deleuze is telling us the map of the world has no "you are here" sticker, and Zizek is telling us that even if you find the X that marks the spot, the treasure chest is empty. And the crazy thing is, that's exactly why the treasure hunt is so exciting. They're both giving us tools to navigate a world that doesn't have a stable anchor. And that leaves us with a huge and maybe even a little bit scary question to chew on. See, Deleuze and Zizek gave us a way to understand our modern world, right? A world of decentralized networks, things going viral, and constantly shifting desires. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But if they're right, if our world really has no stable center, what does that mean for us? How are we supposed to find meaning, or build communities, or even think about the future? That's the puzzle they've left for us to solve.